All right, here's an AP problem from 1993 that is actually a slight adjustment to a Newton's law type problem. And they're telling us that the population of wolves is increasing at a rate proportional to 800 minus p of t. That can be written as just 800 minus p. So that means that effectively dp dt, the rate of growth of the population of wolves with respect to time, is k times 800 minus p. So they're saying then if the initial value is 500, find p in terms of t and k. So we won't have been able to solve for k. We'll leave k in the answer. So if I separate, integrate, and solve here, I'm going to have dp over 800 minus p equals k dt. Then I integrate both sides. Check out what happens on the left. I have 800 minus p. This negative has to come out as a chain rule. Divide by the negative and you have a negative out in front. You end up with kt plus c. Now I cannot exponentiate over here until I have just a 1 in front of the ln. So what I'm faced with is the need to multiply through by a negative on both sides of the equation. So at that point I can exponentiate both sides. So I'm going to have these cancel and I'll have 800 minus p equals e to the negative kt minus c. And I need to solve for p. So negative p equals e to the negative kt minus c minus 800. And I'm going to bring it all the way over here and maybe not write crosswise. If I multiply through by a negative, I get p equals negative e to the negative kt minus c plus 800. And I'm going to split my exponent by properties of exponents. So I'm going to have negative e to the negative kt times negative e to the negative c, which e to the negative c, actually not times the negative e to the negative c, but just times e to the negative c, which we're going to call a. We're going to absorb that there. And then I can solve for a because my initial value is 500. So if I plug in t, I need to get out 500. So my a value is going to be 300. So here is the answer to part A of this problem. Right there. Okay. So then it says if p of 2 equals 700, then find k. So what we're dealing with is plugging in 700 for p and plugging in 2 for t. So I'm going to then subtract 800 from both sides and divide by a negative 300 on both sides. So I end up with, if I come over here, and I'll change my color so we can track it, 1/3 equals e to the negative 2k. Let's go ahead and take the ln of both sides of the equation, and I will get the ln of 1/3 equals negative 2k, which means that k equals ln of 1/3 over negative 2. And I could rewrite this using properties of logs, but I'm frankly not going to worry about it right now. That k plugs in right there. Okay, so it ends up, and I'll write the answer up here, p equals negative 300e to the 1/2 ln of 1/3 all times t plus 800. And then the question is,